Hey everyone, just decided to make a quick video talking about the BlackMagic UltraStudio MiniRecorder. It's a favorite tool of script supervisors because you can take an SDI signal and turn it into a computer signal and take stills, watch on monitor, all that sort of stuff. But it has a problem where it starts to not function as well. And the reason comes from the Thunderbolt port. So you take your Thunderbolt cable and you put it in, and after a bit it starts to sag, it starts to have a lot of leeway, and what happens then is you plug it in and nothing happens. It doesn't light up, it doesn't do anything because it's not completing the circuit. This is kind of a problem with Thunderbolt. It carries a lot of data very efficiently, very quickly, but it was meant for more hard drives, stuff that you kind of plugged in and left it. And in the script supervisor field, we are always jumping around, moving to the next thing. So we plug in, we plug out, and so what happens is the port here loosens up. So we're going to fix it. Just real quick, I marked my end of my Thunderbolt cable that I like to plug in, just because this side seems to work better than the other side. I don't have any rational reason why. If you want to do it, nail polish. Marker will rub off. So mine is covered in Velcro, because I stick it under my tray, and sometimes when it's a little loose I plug it in. It doesn't get a signal this way, but if I turn it over it falls this way and it lights up, and so it's like, okay, then I'll stick it on that way. But sometimes it just doesn't light up, and so that's when we have to go in and fix it. So mine's covered in Velcro. Just pull that off, and what you're going to need is a screwdriver, Phillips head, and then your needle nose or close enough pliers. So I'm trying to do this more towards camera, which is facing the other way. Yeah. So these come out pretty easily. You notice this, they come loose super easy. And I stick them on the sticky side of my Velcro to keep them from not going anywhere, because I've done this on set, I've done this in the forest, I've done this all over the place. I've done it a few times. Yeah, these screws come loose, so you've probably, for a while I just packaging taped them, but now they're covered with the Velcro. Oh yeah, full disclaimer, anything you do is on you. I'm just showing you how to do this. It's not my fault if you fuck it up. But I've done this a number of times. It's gone well for me. I thought I've killed it a number of times, but this thing's a tank. But I know some of you have replaced yours because of this problem, and you don't need to do that, especially now when they're getting hard to find. The new one, the 3G, uses USB-C, and I think that is a better connector, but I don't have much experience. So you get your screws off, and then you just kind of, it's hard with my Velcro, but you kind of open it up. And this is where people get scared when they see a circuit board. You don't have to understand any of this. All you need to know is don't shuffle your feet through carpet and touch it. Don't do this while it's plugged in. Should be fine. Yeah, don't spill water on it, but don't be scared of it either. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our Thunderbolt and we're going to plug it in, and make sure the other end is not plugged in. Don't do this while it's plugged in. That's just dumb. And then we're just going to go around this connector and just squeeze it. Firm, not too firm, Squeeze it all the way back. And you pull it out immediately. You can feel the difference, just how tight it is. Plug it in, and it's firm. It goes in, and there's not as much play. There's still a little bit. So the biggest problem is, and I don't think there's a good way to show this, but it gets loose all around here. So not just the sides, but the top and bottom too. And the bottom is actually where the metal folds around, and so that actually comes the loosest, and we can push it back on the sides here, but I haven't found a good way to push the bottom up at all. If you know of a way, I would love to hear it. So there's also these tabs here, and there's tabs on the side of this connector too. And if you had something smaller, which I actually don't at the moment, yeah, I don't. Oh, should have prepared better. Oh well. You can push them in for a tighter connection. I would just, put it here, and can I try with this? Yeah. Just gentle, yeah, that goes in a little bit. They're kind of meant for it, but nobody kind of tells you that. I had a sound guy suggest that I put some stuff in here to make sure that this doesn't expand. Problem is, this gets so fucking hot that I don't know that there's something I could really trust in putting here that wouldn't fuck it up. Okay, so that's a real tight connection. So then you just put it back on, and because I use so much Velcro, I just make sure that the BlackMagic logo faces the same way as my Thunderbolt port, so that I know which way is up, because sometimes you put it in upside down and you think you got a really good fit. It's not going to work because it's upside down. The other problem that you might have is if you bought a cheap cable because you're buying mini DisplayPort instead of Thunderbolt. Now they look identical, but they're different in a lot of ways. But the main thing you need to know is one works and one doesn't. And the one that works is, of course, the expensive one. Yeah, they're pretty different. It's kind of like how you can have a lot of people call their cables a BNC cable, but what you need is an SDI cable. The BNC is the connector. You could have a USB cable with a BNC on the end of it. I don't know what good it would do anybody, but it's possible. And an SDI cable, fun fact, is the same thing that you had for your cable box in the 90s. It's just a coaxial cable, but one better suited to our work, latency, ohms, all that bullshit. Alright, so now we've sealed it up. I don't have anything to test it on because I'm not by my PlayStation. I've used my PlayStation to test it out. You switch it over to HDMI, turn HDCP off on the PlayStation, and some games that are streaming friendly will let it root through, and you can then test it out by if you get a PlayStation signal on your computer. What's interesting about that is that it lets you show the delay in your different programs. So like if you use Security Spy, you can't play the game. It's too laggy. If you use the BlackMagic Media Express, you can actually play the game. You don't get sound, but you can actually play because it's giving the signal as quickly as possible. Yeah, I don't remember what Swift, if you could play in Swift Capture. Anyway, so if you have a PlayStation or Xbox or something and you desperately need to play a game on your with your computer as a screen, there you go. So now we plug this back in, all said and done. And it's still going to have a little bit of play, but the gap between the connector and the box is much less. You can feel it tighter in there, and you're going to spend less time tapping it, fidgeting it up, or I'm loosening it up right now. I'll go and do this again once this video is done. You're going to spend less time futzing with it and more time doing your fucking job. So there you go. That's it. This may have been too long for such a simple procedure, but you know, some of us are technophobes, so I wanted to walk you through it. All right, bye.